My name is Asmaa Jama, and this exhibition is called Except This Time Nothing Returns from the Ashes, and it's on view at Spike Island, and it was made in collaboration with Gouled Ahmed. My practice is as primarily a poet, or I use words, but I also paint and make moving image films. And I'm interested also in sound, or I create like sound pieces. The exhibition features a film that was commissioned by Spike Island called Except This Time Nothing Returns from the Ashes, and it was shot in location in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. The film looks at the African photo studio. So my collaborator and I were inspired by this idea of the camera making its appearance on the continent, first as like this colonial tool of capture, of surveying people, but then also the way that African artists and people harnessed the camera and used it as a way of documenting themselves and resisting erasure. So some of the artists that we were inspired by were Malik Sidibe and Seydou Keita, who are from Mali, Samuel Fosso, who's from Cameroon and Nigeria, and Stanley Sori, who's from Burkina Faso. The film follows 5 characters, one of whom is a shopkeeper, another of whom is an archivist, 2 of whom are lovers, and the last is a singer. And it follows them as they haunt the city. And we were interested in exploring this idea of people who are always on the periphery and always on the margins and are never in the national archives. And we were interested in this idea of corrupting archives and I guess of hijacking the camera and of resisting erasure. The film is held in an octagonal structure, which the colors and patterns have been inspired by the architecture that you can find in East Africa in places like Somalia and in Addis, and it references the built environment of the film as well. And then along the back perimeter, there is a text that I've written that's been painted onto the wall, referencing the photo studio and this idea of resurrection and returning. I collaborate with Gouled Ahmed, who's an artist and costume designer and photographer based in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. We started collaborating together in 2021 with a commission for the BBC or BBC Arts called Before We Disappear, which looked at hypervisibility, invisibility, and surveillance. And as part of that, we created a digital archive where people from the community were able to add their own experiences of erasure. And after that, we collaborated on another film called The Season of Burning Things. And so this is our 3rd collaboration on a moving image project. The film was sound designed by Sami El Inani, who's an Egyptian sound designer and musician based in London that I've collaborated with before. And some of the sounds that we used in the film was from the British Library John Lowe East Africa collection with the permission of John. I've worked with the collection before and I find it kind of very interesting using the sounds from that, because the British Library, of course, places a lot of importance on the recordist, and often the people who are recorded go unnamed and unmentioned. It feels very cool to be exhibiting in Bristol because I grew up here. And I also remember coming to Spike Island a lot as a young person. It's very interesting, like having the space to bring an idea to life, because I think previously I've worked in smaller formats or like more ephemeral formats, like a performance that is only like alive for one night. It's great that it's able to exist like in its form longer, and that it was like possible to create a structure for the film to be viewed in, and to even consider what kind of environment it would be viewed in, with what lights, with what sort of sound. Yeah, I personally really enjoy making work where it feels like you as the viewer are being challenged somewhat, and you're not just passively viewing these people. Even perhaps with taking pictures, I feel like a lot of it is about belief, that you believe that you won't disappear. Because I remember watching this film called Photography in Ghana and Future Remembrance, and there's a quote there where someone says, if you don't photograph yourself, you die forever. And I think there's also something very powerful about having these pictures taken of you and kind of believing that you will exist somewhere, you will be remembered somewhere, even if you're not sure where.